President Zelenskyy began his visit to the USA. This topic we will discuss with Oleksandr Kraiev, North America Studies Program Director in Foreign Policy Council Ukrainian Prism. Hello and welcome.
Yes, greetings. Nice to see you.
Same for me. And Mr. Zelenskyy intends to present the victory plan, as it is called, to their country's President Joe Biden, as well as to leaders of partner countries. My question is, why is it important to present this plan in person, to Joe Biden, for example? After all, it can be sent by diplomatic mail through State Secretary, who was in Kyiv recently, or simply on the internet. But we have the President Zelenskyy who goes personally.
There are several factors that influence this decision of Mr. Zelenskyy to go directly and to conclude this negotiation directly. Well, first of all, we have United Nations General Assembly, which is widely considered as the basic of all the neutral forums for international negotiations, especially when it concerns the issues of war and peace, and especially when you need to gather as a big coalition as you possibly can, especially with the view not only of this so-called victory plan, but also of the second summit of the Ukrainian peace formula. So basically, it's more or less the issue of convenience, because all the international leaders, basically from all the countries that are necessary to be included into the negotiation and into the second summit of the Ukrainian peace formula, they will be there. They will be physically in New York, and so all the negotiations will take place face to face, and all the negotiations will be conducted swiftly and in a coordinated manner, and that is why the results will be achieved not only faster but also more productively, and all the results will be provided for Ukrainian people, for Ukrainian diplomacy firsthand. So apart from being a convenient forum to conduct this wide range of negotiations, not only with the Americans, but with all our other partners and allies, it is also, let us say, more of an informational agenda issue, because presenting such issues, such formulas, such proposals directly to the international audience and directly to the biggest media outlets out there, well, it also plays into hands of Ukrainian diplomacy and also presents ourselves as an open and ready player, a diplomatic player, who is willing to achieve some results and who is willing to take a step forward in order to achieve these results.
Also, Mr. Zelenskyy during his flight said that this autumn is what decides what will happen next in the war. Like it can reach a victorious point, as I understand this. Do you agree with that?
That's a kind of positivistic view of the situation, to be honest, because of course we do strive to do everything possible to end Russian aggression and to stop the violation of Ukrainian territory and all the risks and threats to Ukrainian lives that Russia possesses. But at the same time, we do see that a lot is needed to be done, a lot of preparation, a lot of diplomatic activities, and of course the presentation of this victory formula by Mr. Zelenskyy. Of course, everything is being done what is necessary to achieve this result during this autumn, but still we should be more realistic. And from my point of view, as far as I'm concerned, if this autumn will not bring the end result to stop Russian aggression, at least it will make the baseline, it will make a foothold in order to create this peace formula and to start the negotiations with Ukraine having the strong hand in this negotiation.
So do you believe that Ukraine wants right now to get an upper hand, like an initiative in the war, in a number of artillery guns with allowance to hit Russian territory with missiles, and that is the third part, the diplomatic one, presenting the victory plan, as it is called, to President Biden, both presidential candidates, as Harris and Trump.
Yes, that's definitely the part of the same strategy, but with different instruments being implemented. Our Western allies and partners have repeatedly said that, from their point of view, Ukraine should decide for itself when and how to start the negotiation. And the main objective for our Western partners is to provide Ukraine with everything necessary in order for Ukraine to have the upper hand in negotiation, in order to start these peace talks from the position of a leader, from a strong position, and not from the point that Ukraine will definitely be a victim of Russian diplomacy as well as a victim of Russian military aggression. So basically, both the issue of rockets being provided for Ukraine, of the necessary adjustments and agreements made for Ukraine to use these rockets deep into the Russian territory, and the victory formula by President Zelenskyy and all the diplomatic activities surrounding the United Nations General Assembly, these are all parts of creating the necessary circumstances and necessary opportunities for us, for Ukrainians, to start these negotiations properly and not to lose on the diplomatic front.
Okay, so the final question. Among other things, Zelenskyy will speak at the UN Security Council and the General Assembly. What can these appeals give to Ukraine in the question of diplomacy?
Well, I'm a big skeptic of international and especially global organizations as of now. Unfortunately, Russian aggressions of 2022 just broke the previously existing international system, where international organizations and multilateral diplomacy was the cornerstone of all the stability of international system. As well, it broke the rule of law of international law-abiding institutions, and so United Nations General Assembly has lost its valuability, has lost its temper if we speak about international arena and international politics at the whole. But at the same time, there are still some chances and there are still some uses for such a global forum. For example, a lot of countries on the global south, and especially those more closely aligned to Chinese People's Republic, they still do view the United Nations as a valuable and necessary instrument in international politics. And that is why for Ukraine, who is, as far as we are all concerned, are striving to get the support from the global south, from Latin America, Africa, from Southeastern Asia, these speeches by Mr. Zelenskyy, his activity during the United Nations General Assembly will be once more a necessary point to make to our partner states in the global south, that their support, their activity, and their position is much needed for Ukraine, not because it's an issue of Ukraine or Ukrainian borders, but because it's an issue of international stability, international rule of law, and the prevention of any further aggression, not only against Ukraine, but against any free and independent nation in the world.
I believe we all need that. And thank you very much for being with us.